to Power Packed History. I am Professor Mahlum, coming live to you out of Hillsboro, Oregon. Today, let's talk about how the United States was finally pulled into the war effort. Now, if you've studied history a little bit, you probably know a little bit about the sinking of the Lusitania and some of the issues that were going on with the Atlantic, but that actually happens a long time before the U.S. actually gets involved in the war effort against Germany. Now, in the last lecture, I talked about the fact that Great Britain and the U.S. were trading a lot. And by 1917, what the Germans had decided was that their biggest threat to winning the war was the British constantly being resupplied by the Americans. So they made the decision to resume unrestricted submarine warfare. And so what they did is they went and they started bombing the heck out of American vessels and British vessels that were trading, and they were extremely successful. In the first 10 days of April in 1917, 250,000 tons, 250,000 tons of American munitions and goods were sunk out on the Atlantic Ocean. Now, it is worth pointing out that not all Americans were ready for this war, for this coming war. And in fact, the vast majority of Westerners were opposed to the war. We only know about the East Coast and what they thought. The Westerners saw Europe as this faraway entity that they didn't have any interest in, that it didn't affect their daily lives. But what the Americans had gotten from the British was this Zimmerman note that had been intercepted, in which the Mexican government had been told, hey, Mexico, if you join the war effort against the Americans, then we will restore the lost territories that were taken from you in the war with Mexico circa 1946 to 1948. We're talking California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, you get it all. Suddenly those Westerners are like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm pretty upset. And they suddenly solidified their support. And by the time we actually entered the war, what you saw was that there tended to be universal U.S. support for war against the Germans.
Thank you for watching this episode of Power Packed History, America's Road to World War I, Part 2. And stay tuned for the next episode where we look into more on this topic.